Alright, so I'll be talking about correctional systems and sentencing in Canada's criminal justice system. A correctional system is a network of agencies that administer jurisdictions, prisons, and community-based programs like parole or probation boards. This is part of the larger criminal justice system. A correctional system has three main goals: punish, protect the population, and rehabilitate the offender. In order to do this, a sentence is given in proportionate to the crime committed. Each time someone is sentenced, there are purposes or goals behind it to ensure that it is beneficial to the offender and society. So there are many types of goals for sentencing, but most of them just refer to retribution, denunciation, rehabilitation, general deterrence, and specific deterrence. So retribution is eye for an eye, which makes the defendant pay for what they have done. Denunciation, which criticizes the defendant by expressing the community's condemnation of the offense. Rehabilitation, which imposes a sentence that would offer methods to rehabilitate or cure the inmate from what made them commit the crime in the first place, like alcoholic or drug addiction treatment centers. Also, general deterrence, which imposes a sentence that would discourage other individuals from committing a similar crime. And specific deterrence, which imposes a sentence that discourages offenders from committing the same crime again. So, in a summary of the case I'll be using, in 2001, Dean Robert Zimmerman was sentenced to jail for tormenting and torturing his pregnant wife in an attack that lasted over 48 hours. He constantly assaulted her and broke her nose and threatened to cut out her unborn baby. This attack took place while on parole for another attack on a 19-year-old woman, which involved a rape. After serving less than 4 years for that attack, he was released, and on January 1st, 2005, he committed another attack over a 9-hour sex assault and torture session on a 24-year-old woman involving a toilet plunger. He pleaded guilty to sexual assault involving a weapon and spent 40 months in federal prison, which is 3 years and 4 months, for a sexual and physical assault and torture session. This being his third such conviction in the span of a few short years. The court found him not to be a threat to society and was sentenced 6 years in prison, but was released 3 years early. The National Parole Board described him as a psychopath who is lacking remorse and empathy and whose violence towards women is escalating to a deadly level. In 2008, before they released him, they said there is a likelihood that he will commit an offense causing serious harm or death. You would think that this would mean that he would have a longer prison sentence, would you not? So all in all, a man who refused prison therapy and remains untreated, unremorseful, and a high-risk violent sexual offender was given early release. Okay, so some key issues in this case are obviously correctional systems and the sentencing. So a correctional system is supposed to promote and rehabilitate good behavior out of an offender. But obviously that's not happening, since Dean Robert Zimmerman did not change at all, despite being in prison 3 different times for 3 different assaults. So obviously it doesn't promote rehabilitation, denunciation, or repentance, or any other goal of sentencing. Also, the sentencing aspect is obviously not equivalent to the act committed and therefore does not deter the offender from offending again. So what I mean by that is that if the offender knows that they won't be punished harshly or as harsh as they probably should be, they won't feel scared and will most likely reoffend again. So obviously the sentences given to people are not harsh enough since they are leaving prison or jail and reoffending again and getting either like the same sentence or even a lesser sentence. So a solution to this problem would be for Canada to adopt California's 3-strike law. So what this would mean is that the law would impose a life sentence for virtually any crime, no matter how minor it is, as long as the defendant has been convicted of 2 prior serious or violent crimes. So California introduced this law to keep murderers, rapists, and child molesters behind bars. Within the first 8 months of this law's enactment, over 1,000 prisoners were released from custody, and of these inmates, less than 2% of them were charged with a new crime. This percentage is well below state and national averages.